You're gonna be the Metaverse boys, dude. If you're gonna make dog food, you better eat your own dog food.
Good luck, mates.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm glad you guys all gave me all that money.
Yeah.
Peace.
Man, we're dropping some hints there, aren't we? Welcome back to episode 116 of the Block Runner Podcast. I am your host, William, always here with your co-host, Iman.
What's up? What's up?
So it's been a little while since we were together last time.
Yeah, it's always a little while, dude.
And
every time we reconvene, it's always like, dude, it's been a while.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons, like COVID's resurging. But yeah, let's not get into like another COVID deep rabbit hole because, yeah, it always leads to
and
crazy conversations.
Of course, we coordinated the colored shirts, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess these shirts like say a lot about our freaking souls, dude. Like colorless souls. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, man. Why are we so unfashionable?
I don't know, dude.
What's wrong with us, dude?
I don't know. I think we're too much into the metaverse. We're stylish in the metaverse,
I don't think that excuse is gonna fly. I think we've been like this even before all this.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's just our personality, man. I don't know. I guess we just don't have enough time or like brain capacity left to like think about like, dude, it's like how do I
look stylish
remain
today?
Fashionable?
Yeah,
dude, fashion is difficult to keep up with. But yeah.
So I actually don't even remember the last time we did a podcast. So we did an interview with Frankie.
Oh yeah, that was the last time.
Yeah. And you were here. That was like
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
So we were gonna try and get the Axie guys too to do an interview, but we've had some, personal issues happening and stuff like that. So the coordination fell apart. But a couple weeks ago, Axie was completely obliterating everything, right?
Yeah.
So
DeFi, crypto.
Yeah. So
Axie was on top.
Exactly. So considering we're in the blockchain gaming space and in the metaverse space, it's like a perfect opportunity to get like some good insight into what's going on over there in the Axieverse. But so we wanted to interview those guys, but they'll probably come on later.
Yeah,
in the coming weeks. But because Axie isn't going anywhere. Neither is blockchain gaming.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's only going to grow.
Yeah.
And then before that, we so about a year and a half ago, we interviewed John Mcafee.
Oh yeah, man.
And so when we did that interview, I think we capped out like at 700 views or something like that.
Okay.
And then he passed away. He was either killed or allegedly committed suicide.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, now it has like 66,000 views.
Wow.
And so that's definitely our best performing video for sure. And it's like an hour and a half long.
Yeah, it was a good conversation. We all know John Mcafee. We grew up hearing about the guy and his fantastic lifestyle.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, as a cavalier.
Yeah, he was crazy. Crazy in a good way.
Yeah,
but he came on and he talked to us. It felt very genuine. There was nothing. Even though he could have shilled a lot of things, he didn't like do that.
He didn't do that.
It was more like he came on to. I don't know, maybe because he like saw our freaking baby faces or something. Like, like, dude, these are some young guys.
I need to help these guys out.
Yeah, like let's spit some like life wisdom to them.
Yeah,
and that's what it came across. Or maybe he just got done like smoking a bunch of weed.
Yeah,
and, like that's just the vibe he was working with at the time.
Yeah, he was like a dad. He was giving us advice.
Little dad speech.
Yeah,
it was cool.
Yeah, he was telling us to pursue our like interests and don't spend your time working. Spend your time like learning and like doing stuff that you're interested in, because we have such little time on Earth.
Damn,
that we shouldn't be spending time on anything
we
don't like.
Yeah, it was too deep, man.
Yeah, it was
a deep conversation.
I mean, we thought we were gonna talk about crypto and like the Mcafee decks.
It's true. Yeah, we came in like totally like
crypto focused,
like we always do.
Yeah,
but he totally flipped the script.
Yeah, he did.
As he does. But I think that was a lot more valuable because I think all these people who are watching it, they wanted to know the man a little bit better. Usually what happens when somebody passes away, you start doing your due diligence, like understanding, trying to connect the pieces. Why is, what led to this moment?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got a huge track record. You can go through, like, you could spend months probably looking through.
Yeah, we got tons of comments. And a lot of people really liked that interview.
Really?
They're saying, like, this was the best interview.
What?
Yeah.
Damn, dude! Shout out to you guys.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Comments, if you're still lingering around.
And I think it's because of the advice he was giving. It's almost as if I listened to the interview post his death, And like it did sound differently knowing that you know he was dead.
Yeah.
And watching it knowing that he passed away.
I think we asked him like or you asked him the big AI question, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like, what was his response to that? I can't remember.
That he's afraid of AI to be careful. And
interesting.
And even Elon's afraid of AI.
Well, that's where the question stems from, right? It's like everybody knows Elon's stance on it. Elon has a lot of gravity, like when it comes to his opinions and thoughts. So it's like, if he's scared of something, then like maybe we should be paying attention or like also be scared. So I never really heard John McAfee talk too much about the AI stuff, you know. So yeah, it was a good question to ask. I think so if you're curious and interested to hear John McAfee's opinion on the future prospects of artificial intelligence, definitely go back and watch that. Yeah,
definitely watch it. Make sure you watch Frankie as well, because we were talking about PFP projects, profile pic projects now.
Yeah, dude,
in the NFT space.
That stuff's getting out of control. You know what? Let's just freaking talk about it.
Yeah.
We were gonna save it for another discussion, but you know what? Yeah, man, it's getting out of control, like in a good way.
It's it's just following the whole crypto sort of zeitgeist. Is the bigger the meme, the more likely it is to stick, and people will just buy it, even though it's like a shit NFT, right? Just like a shit coin, you know.
It was, yeah. I think you're right. Like a lot of it's very meme driven.
Yeah,
that's why like the art styles, a lot of PFPs are like, they're kind of wacky. They, as a collector, you want to feel, I guess, identify with these things. So like the little wackier and crazier they are, the more unique, I guess, in a sense.
But there are some people playing like 5D chess with these things, because
Which people?
No, just like NFT experts, NFT like veterans.
Yeah.
Because I think the more memey it is, the more likely it is for them to buy and then just hold, because they feel like, this one's going to take off.
Okay.
And so there is some sort of like strategy to it, I think.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, it's a whole market that's kind of like forming.
Yeah.
Like it's in its early stages, just like, early crypto. These things evolve, and then like, of course, people who have strong positions in these markets end up kind of like directing it and moving it and influencing it like crazy.
Yeah.
We saw it with the IDO space. Like it blew up like in the first quarter of this year. And like all the influencers that were out there shilling these things, and they're popping out left and right. New projects that never existed. You could just slap a random name on a coin and you launch to one of these IDO platforms, build a community that way, onboard a bunch of new members, and boom, it's like instant success, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing's kind of happening in the PFP space, but for the NFT side, like it's even more engaging, because like you're not just collecting, these
a coin,
right?
A number.
There's nothing distinguishable, right? They're fungible.
Yeah.
They're not non-fungible.
That's right.
That's why these NFTs have so much power, dude. Because like you're part of a community just like you are as a token holder,
but you have an identity associated.
Exactly. You have an actual identity within that community.
Yeah.
Based on like the asset that you hold. So it's powerful, man. And I think people are just now starting to figure out how to leverage that power for good, or
we're learning a lot too, because I've said this before. When we first discovered sushi, like it looked like a clear and obvious scam because of the 1,000% yield and all these like crazy things that you wouldn't expect to be possible. And then a few months after that, it was like widely adopted. Now everybody has like these crazy yields in every single DeFi platform.
Yep.
And it became a tool to leverage as a crypto investor, that you could just take your funds, deposit it, and then yield farm these tokens. And so when it comes to these PFP projects, you see enough PFP projects and you look at their websites and they're all well done. They're all like competently built.
Pull up while we're talking about it. Oh man, crap. You know what site I'm referring to? I just don't know what it's called at the moment.
Yeah.
Rarity tool? Like Google that, rarity tool. I don't know what the extension is. Like
rarity.tools.
Okay, rarity.tools. Yeah. So if you don't know what a PFP is, I think it's a profile picture project or something like that.
Profile
PFP.
pic, yeah.
Profile pic. But yeah, so they're NFTs, and the majority of them are 10K projects, meaning there's 10,000 different variants.
Yeah, plus
NFTs.
or minus a few. Like they have meme numbers now, like 7,777.
I'm pretty sure there's one out there with like 6969.
Yeah,
I'm almost certain of it. But yeah, like go to like the list. There you go. So this is where you can go if you want to start doing like some research on this space, right? Like there's like I said, there's a market evolving and forming.
Mm-hmm.
So people are out there figuring out how to build the tools for like analysis, right? And like keep up with that market and the volume, just like they would with a crypto coin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a ranking system dependent on volume and number of you could sort by number of holders, which is like a nice, metric to understand the value of that community.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you click on any one of them, you can start to see like the actual catalog of NFT, right? So you could see what it is.
Yeah, let's look at Pudgy Penguins.
I never heard of that one.
Oh.
There they are.
Yep.
This is it, dude. So each one's unique, right?
Right. And so what I was going to say was that these PFP projects, they you go to their website and it's a competently built website, right?
Yeah.
But then you go to enough websites and you start seeing a pattern. It's like almost exactly the same thing. And I'm not talking about the design. I'm talking about what they put on the website itself. There's like a little story. There's like a background, like lore behind these things.
Yeah.
And then there's like basically a picture with like, it's just flipping through all these images.
Yeah.
And then there's like a roadmap. And on that roadmap, it's like, if we sell 50% of these, we're going to start selling merch. Mm-hmm. And if we sell 60%, everybody gets an airdrop art.
Yeah, more art. Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of these, the stage that the PFP like sector is in right now, it's very art driven.
Yeah.
So I mean, how much can you do as an artist? You could just create more art.
Oh yeah, it's infinite.
Yeah. So I don't think the PFP like ability or like the movement hasn't like captured the developers yet. I don't think we've gotten there. I think it's on its way to capturing more developer interest, like where now these artists can start collaborating with developers and figuring out how to actually turn these things into legitimate potential metaverses, potential games, lots of different directions. We're looking at pretty much, I mean, a lot could be done with these characters, right? These are the seed characters to a lot of things. I mean, and in some cases, like Ashton Kutcher and friends made their own PFP project, and like their seed characters are going to be used in a animated cartoon series.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you can think of all kinds of different like applications for these things, right?
Yeah, and going back to what I was trying to kind of illustrate is that if you look at these different projects, they start to look very similar. And it almost feels like there's a few like small team members like just copy and pasting like the framework for these PFP projects because it's easy. It's just a bunch of PNGs. Mm-hmm. And all you have to do is basically draw the individual unique items and then just kind of paste it on top, right? Because you start with a base layer, right? This is your base layer. And so I guess my point is that you can easily get swindled and get your ETH taken because I'm pretty sure 95% of these projects don't intend to actually do anything with these.
Oh, damn. So you're setting the red alert right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because it goes back to like the original CryptoPunks, right?
Okay, yeah.
They didn't necessarily intend to do anything with theirs either. And I think they were given out for free, the CryptoPunks.
I think their intention was to do what it is they ended up doing. Like, it was it was an experiment with like NFT ability, right? Like, these non-fungible asset class, like what is it we can do with it? So let's make these pixel dudes, put them out there. Like we set a precedent. This is what you could do with this technology.
Yeah.
And now,
but it took a while for this to like really catch on, though.
Yeah, I was about to say 4 years later, probably like 4. I think it came out in 2017. So 4 years later, now all of a sudden that narrative is sticking.
Yeah,
I think because like now the NFT space is growing, and there's
that's what it is.
Yeah, the NFT space is growing. So, and there's influential actors within the NFT space, and a lot of them have power to kind of move this market. Because it's still relatively like low liquidity, I think. No, I don't know. At the time when CryptoPunks blew up, it was relatively low. So, just like when Bitcoin was very low liquidity in its earlier stages, it's much easier to manipulate, right? So, yeah, I mean, influential forces in the market are able to kind of like cook up these narratives and get people to buy into the same thing. And it's you build a community and a movement around it, and all of a sudden value just kind of drops out of the air, right? Like perceptive value.
Yeah. So even though like 95% of these projects aren't going to do anything besides create these like PNGs or GIFs or whatever, it doesn't mean that something like this can't really take off. If like this pings the zeitgeist, it hits like some sort of like, portion of humanity's brain, like these could easily be sold for millions of dollars 4 years from now.
That's true.
And so, which I mean, it would indicate a successful project, I guess.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of what you're hoping for, I guess. If you buy one of these, essentially you're holding out for that hopeful outcome, right? You're participating in that community. And in a lot of cases, it is kind of funny when you actually like read the websites. A lot of these projects, that's what's so crazy. It's a lot of them aren't promising to deliver anything. It's more like you buy these NFTs, and it's going to be left up to you guys to figure out like how to create more value.
Yeah,
like that is the main pitch. It's like, here we're going to build this community of PFP holders, and then good luck, guys.
Yeah.
Like figure it out how to build some kind of anything out of this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is a good example because this is just pure random, but I clicked on Degen's farm website, and it's giving me a 404 error.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know. Let me try one thing. Let me go to private window and then see if it has anything to do like.
Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely down. So, but that's what I mean. It's like you buy these things, they take down the website, and it's like.
So you think that was a rug? Like
potentially. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really looked into it, but.
Dang.
Let's check out the Twitter. Let's just confirm. So this is real-time research here, and looks like the Twitter's up. 2,500 friends on Twitter. I mean.
Everything looks good. So maybe they're just having like some
website difficulties.
Yeah, that happens. That happens often.
Yeah.
So,
but
I'm curious on your opinion though, like on what I just said about like it seems like a popular narrative among these projects is it's very community centric in the sense like it's not like an ICO, right, where a team has a concept idea for a project or something, some type of protocol or whatever it is. They're gonna do a token sale. People are going to buy these tokens and then become part of the community under the expectation the team is going to deliver something like into the future, right? There's like an actual like roadmap.
Yes.
There's development expectations that happen, right? So in this case, like, what do you think of this? Like, it's flipping the script, being like, no, it's more like the community is going to figure out how to create value. Are you in favor of this, against this? Do you think it's a total?
I like the idea of it. I like the idea of a community contributing to the construction of like some game or some activity that you could do with these NFTs. Yeah. But I don't think that there's a framework for it yet. It's like you tell an engineer and he knows how to build circuits. He knows how to build like chips and stuff. And you ask him like, hey, build me something. It's like, and he would say, well, what do you want me to build? It's like, just make me a chip. It's like, well, what's the, what are the parameters of this chip? Is it, you got a lot of space? Do I need to have like a high clock speed, a low clock speed? Is it a low power unit, a high power? If you give him nothing, he can't build you anything. And so I think that's largely what's missing from that idea of having the community just build something. And plus, something like this is like, I feel like you're limited to what you can build with these like the lowest poly animals possible.
Well, I mean, they're low poly now, but who's to say you can't, create high fidelity versions of these assets,
Well, and then I'm thinking it's like, okay, if somebody does something with it, like what is the personal incentive to do so? Like you're gonna
as what, like a developer or something?
Yeah.
Like who's gonna be tasked within the community to actually like do stuff?
Yeah.
I guess the incentive is like, if I'm a developer in this community, I got like, I don't know, like $100,000 worth of these NFTs. I want to be sure, like, I'm gonna create more additional value for these NFTs, so that maybe they'll be worth 10 million in the future.
It's possible, but the amount of work that the developer would have to do to make something like this valuable, like on his own, is vastly more than what's potentially going to come from an actual game developed by the individual.
The same developer?
Yeah, because you could make a game right now. Anybody can make a game, and it's just going to fail, right? It's just because that's how life works. Is not everything you make is going to be successful, right?
Okay.
And so the developer's taking this huge risk to help, potentially 9,000 other people out for this 10K project, or 5,000, whatever, how many people are holding this, for nothing, right? He just wasted his time. So that's what I'm saying. Is like, there isn't a framework to have contribution. And I think that's what's missing. And then ultimately, I mean, if you're investing in these things, you're not waiting for anybody to make stuff. You're just hoping that this takes off somehow. Like maybe the influencer cartel jumps in and starts shilling these things, and you happen to hold one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to work for now, but like you're saying, eventually the music's going to stop. Like, not just 100%. For this, but for everything, right? And then
it stopped with ICOs. Yeah, it stopped with IDOs.
Yeah,
it's going to stop with this.
It will. And then at that point, then you're going to have to start thinking like, the majority will dump their bags, but there's going to be some who don't, and it's going to be left up to them to figure out, how do we create like some kind of actual sustainability and create some real value out of this thing, so we can get people back wanting to buy these things.
Yeah, because I mean, ultimately, the reason why we're talking about this is because this is actually a good idea.
It is.
It's a very good idea, and
because it satisfies a lot of like essential requirements to do like basically do business in the crypto industry, in the blockchain space. Like, it's already been proven one of the most essential core components to building a crypto anything is community. Like, you got to have a strong, loyal, dedicated community behind whatever it is you're creating. So far, like, these things are generating like the most intense, like, passionate communities,
Yeah, they're changing their profile pics on Twitter.
Exactly. Like,
I can imagine, like, you're I don't use Facebook, but if you peruse down Facebook, maybe you'll find somebody's profile pic changed to one of these like little
for sure
Doge, and I'm sure everybody in there is like, the hell, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So
there's that. But I guess we're just kind of like, I don't know, hinting at the idea of like, it is a good idea because it can go further than this, and it will go further than this. Right? So having said that, I guess we've been working on our own project.
That's right.
Like pretty much shadow working.
Shadow working.
How is that what you call it? Like stealth developing, like, because we've been keeping our eyes on this, dude, for like the last month, because it's been the talk of the town, and what we just said, like, we understand the importance of community, and we've been building a platform for the metaverse that our mission has always been to support creators, right? Support developers, artists, whoever it is that wants to help construct the metaverse. There's a lot that goes into that, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly, because right now the NFT space is all like pictures and PNGs and GIFs, right?
Yeah.
And it has supported an industry that's been neglected, which is the art industry.
That's true.
And it just fit perfectly. And so the NFT standard right now is all that you need as an artist. There's nothing more left for an artist that someone needs to build for them to really take advantage of NFTs. But it's not the same when it comes to 3D artists. And so that's partly another reason why we were building MetaZone in the context of, thinking about the artists. Is there's a huge sector in the artist community that's being neglected in the NFT space, and that is the 3D artists. And so what if we could build a platform for the 3D artists that leverage this mechanism? It's like, would people be interested? And so that's sort of kind of how we're thinking about this and building what we're building for those 3D artists. And you could do unique shit with this. Like,
what's unique about it?
Well, these profile pics are exactly what they sound like. They're just a profile pic with, a character with a hat or laser eyes or a chain or whatever.
So the question begs, like, do you think people who are buying and owning these things want to do more with their assets? Like, are they perfectly content? Like, this is good enough.
Well, here's the thing. You said it best, that these are community building tools.
Yeah.
And what do you do with a community? You just like, you don't do anything with them?
I mean, right now it's basically we just like circle jerk each other.
Yeah.
It's like when there's nothing to do, there's no place to visit, there's no game to play, we're just gonna
chat about it on Discord, right?
And on Twitter, you just kind of like,
and that's it.
You try your best to inspire FOMO from those who like just happen to miss out on buying these things.
Yeah.
So all day you're on Twitter being like, yo, dude, I don't know, create like some kind of fan art with this PFP concept or whatever it is, just try and like get people to feel like, oh man, like I want to be a part of this crew.
Yeah.
It taps into the whole tribal nature of, humanity, right? It's all over, it's happening all over again. And then
another way that we think about this is we see what's successful out there. Axie is successful. Yeah. Roblox, Minecraft. Mm-hmm. What are these things, right? They're games, right? Yeah. And in some of these games, for example, like Roblox, people go in to play Roblox to not shoot at things or mine or play. They come in just to hang out with their friends.
Yeah.
And so we figured that, clearly humans are enjoying this level of activity, just hanging out with their friends and doing like some small activity, right? So what if we kind of merge the two, right? We give an identity to the community members via this PFP project, and then we give them something to do, like battle or mine or discover, play, whatever it is. And we figured, we're speculating that that's something that people would want to do.
Yeah.
And then you have more of a sustainable concept of a PFP project.
Yeah, there's that. And then, you eventually, you can go crazy with these things, dude. Like, we've already seen the superpower of like what Axie Infinity has done as far as like, uplifting like whole populations of people.
A country.
Like, many countries, like lifting them out of like poverty essentially by creating these virtual economies that anybody can participate in, as long as you have access to like, the tools to earn within that ecosystem. So in their case, the little Axie poofball creatures, I mean, right here, like we have an Axie creating factory in the PFP market, basically.
Yes.
Like these are all potential Axies.
Yes.
The problem is they just don't know how to,
Yeah, there's no framework.
It's well, like I'm saying, it's mostly artist driven. So we recognize that.
Yeah, that's true. They're artist driven, and artists are not game designers.
They're
not developers.
No,
they don't know anything about 3D modeling.
They're not smart contract developers either. So they're not going to create token economies and figure out how to like build, closed loop sustainable ecosystems and stuff like that.
Like a game designer could.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, and luckily we have access to one of the most accessible like game universes in Decentraland, right? Like it's out there in the open for anybody to leverage and use.
Yeah, you just need a browser.
Yeah, and like it's free you could build anybody as long as you know how to build. Like there's access to that, and then our platform is allowing creators like developers, artists, all these people to merge together and create the content that's needed in order to build these closed loop economies and stuff like that, right? So we recognize like we're in the perfect position pretty much to onboard a lot of these like communities into the metaverse.
Yes.
I think that's going to be our goal here within the next, month or two, to really accelerate that idea.
Yeah.
Because it's already happening. Like Decentral Games has been, I think they're launching a casino today for the Bored Ape community.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's huge, right? Like, so they're already kind of like getting the ball rolling, getting the idea going of like, look, you guys built this awesome community. You have, so bring that community into the metaverse and like leverage your presence. I don't know, hang out together.
Yeah.
Do the same things together here in our casino. But obviously that's just the beginning. Like there's a whole untapped potential.
Yeah.
Beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, Decentral Games is doing what they can to bring, these types of communities into the metaverse. Especially, it's it's in their interest, right? They're a casino, so they want people to play. And so if they can contextualize a casino in the context of a Bored Ape,
yeah,
the better.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's like an actual like yacht, and I think they have like some 3D apes walking around. So
yeah.
So
that's smart. Yeah, just build a yacht and put some casino games on there, and there you go.
So
you got a place to hang out.
Exactly. So it's already beginning is the point, and yeah, man, I think we can envision a lot of different use cases. Like as soon as we can onboard all these different avatar characters, creatures, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah,
I mean. There's a lot of different directions you can go with that.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? Like this is such a sustainable idea because what do you think these guys did with the Doge pound? Right, they potentially sold out. What is it? 10,000 of these.
Yeah,
and so far the total volume is 4,600 ETH, which is a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what does this team have? They have roughly 2,000 ETH.
Okay.
So they could pay for development.
They could.
With a framework for the metaverse.
That's correct.
And so now this community member, this community of like almost 3,000 owners will have potentially a place to interact with their PFP project in the metaverse.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of like our way to kind of contribute to building out the metaverse is like these things are spinning up. And they're being largely very successful, and they don't have. If you go look at all their roadmaps, there's a bunch of nothing.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing. And a lot of them have ambitions to, of course, build these play-to-earn economies because they're so powerful, and it seems like a natural evolution for these characters and these avatars, whatever you want to call them. Like these are basically like. The beginning to building any game universe, you got to have like your starting characters, right? So it just makes so much sense. But yeah, of course, it's very difficult to do in Decentraland in any metaverse, right? We've recognized that problem since the beginning. That's why we built the platform for it. So I think a lot of these projects are going to understand as soon as they start trying to build in Decentraland, it's not as easy as they think. Because on these roadmaps, a lot of them say we're going to buy a bunch of land in the metaverse, aka Decentraland, Somnium, CryptoVoxels, whatever, and we're gonna build out these game verses, and launch these tokens and whatnot. So
yeah,
they're gonna come across all the same, barriers that we came across.
Oh, absolutely.
So
and the barriers are very tall.
Mm-hmm.
They're high barriers. But again, let me give you an example. At 90% for this, the Doge pound, this says community grant of $30,000 is launched. So they raise $1 million, $2 million, and then they set aside $30,000 for the community to create, design, develop, or build something that the community values. Like for example, utility for the Doges.
Okay.
This is so
broad.
Ambiguous.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're saying, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And not only don't they know what to do, they're saying, you guys figure it out. And then these, I guess I'm presuming that people that buy these things are expecting something to come out of it. Some action, some gameplay, I don't know, something.
Not yet. I think they will, but yeah, I mean, at the moment right now, I think it's just like a gold rush. So people are just, they're creating narratives that, people can gravitate towards without much substance. And we've seen this all the time in the crypto space.
Yeah.
Like they're called manias, right? And right now there's a NFT PFP mania happening. So yeah, but at some point, you got to expect substance to come out of these manias because the ones that do actually deliver on some kind of substance, they end up being the Goldilocks projects, like the huge ones, like Aave came through during like an ICO mania in 2017, 2018, and now look at them now. They actually had a true narrative, like they had a narrative for their token launch back then, raised a ton of money, built a community. And they actually delivered on it, like 3 or 4 years later, and now look at them. They lead the whole
DeFi space.
Basically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to kind of like how we're thinking about onboarding, communities into the metaverse, and they're sort of like starting to do it. I mean, for example, at the very end, it says we will make dojas ready for the metaverse in 3D.
Nice.
So let me try to explain the difficulty in making all these in 3D.
Okay, go for it.
So let's assume, and I don't know this project, so I'm just gonna take it at face value. Let's assume there's 10,000 of these.
Okay.
All 10,000 look completely unique.
They do.
Right? So it's like, okay, they look completely unique. And then you go and find a competent 3D modeler. Doesn't have to be an expert or anything. And so you're going to go to them and say, all right, guys, I got about, I don't know, my budget's like $100,000, right? And they raised $2 million. It's like, can you build me 10,000 3D models of these things? And of course they're going to be like, yeah, sure. It's like, okay, so it's about $100 per model.
Okay.
So that's what, 10,000, that's $100,000, right? Just $100,000 to build this. Do you know how long it will take to make any of these things? It's like 3 to 4 hours per model. And so,
is that really $100,000 to do 10,000?
10,000. No, sorry, that's $1 million.
Okay.
Sorry, that's $1 million.
So automatically, like, their budget doesn't qualify to produce like the assets they need.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to spend like at minimum $1 million to get like some relatively decent quality 3D renders.
And $100 per model is it's not that much money.
Yeah.
So,
but the fact is there's 10,000 of these things, you know, and it's because I mean there's only maybe like 100 to a couple hundred actual like distinguishable traits that make up these 10,000 characters. But yeah, like currently there isn't a way to like assemble these 3D traits and then like, you know, push out like the actual models. Right now it's just you actually have to create the models for each variant. So
that's just modeling one of these things.
Yeah.
Then of course, once you model it, then it's just a statue. It just like doesn't do anything. You have to animate it.
Yeah.
And then once you animate it, it's like, okay, what is it going to do? Is it going to walk around? It's going to get hungry, or I don't know, right? You got to come up with like why you're animating it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if I'm coming up with why I'm animating it, then it's like, what are these things going to do? It's like, well, it's a game, and you just look at it, or you interact with it, or whatever.
Yep.
And so now you're getting into a territory where you need a game designer, then you need like a developer, and so this is out of the realms of reach for these guys. And then on top of this, the fact that they're saying it on their website that they're going to put this in the metaverse and they're going to 3Dify everything, like that tells me that they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It tells me that they don't have a clue as to the implications of what they're saying.
Yeah, either that or they're just like hoping that nobody else understands like the difficulty.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely. Yeah. It's like you read this and you don't know exactly what I told you. You read this like, cool, there's going to be in the metaverse. Of course I'll buy one. This is a great idea.
Yeah, it sounds great, right, on paper. And then when it comes to execution time, it's like, it's like this is a little more challenging than I thought. But who knows? Maybe this sector is going to grow so bigly in like the near future because there's so much traction, there's so much interest and demand, liquidity, whatever the hell. You might start seeing like big VCs start entering the space. Be like, you know what? I kind of like I like your concept of a PFP, you know, community universe, whatever the hell. You've already sold 10,000. You generated a couple million. Cool. Yeah. You got this idea to build a game, whatever the hell. Oh yeah, let's give you $5 million.
Yeah.
Let's make this game. Right? Like that the potential is there.
And because they see Axie and they're like, well, Axie is a relatively simple game, right? It's a closed loop. You battle, you earn tokens, you use those tokens to breed, you continue the circulation.
Yeah, but even with that $5 million, then they're like, okay, let's actually build like a cool game universe in the metaverse. Like, and then they start with all this money and stuff. Then they start actually trying to build it. Like, okay, I guess we need to buy like 100 parcels or something of land. It's like, okay, that's probably $1 million or more there.
At least $1 million.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, let's actually build here. And it's like, oh, we built a pretty cool game, but it's like actually we'd like it to be, you know, more just a much more exciting experience, like an actual game, right? It just becomes much. They'll start to encounter the obvious dilemmas, like when it comes to developing a game in the metaverse, and
Yeah, it's so deceptively complicated.
Yeah.
Like it's not easy to understand like what the implications are to building stuff in the metaverse, especially if you want to do it in like an open metaverse like Decentraland. It's extremely expensive and complicated.
Yeah, so maybe the solution becomes, you know what, Decentraland is a little complicated, so maybe I need to make our own metaverse.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, that way, you
and
know.
then that has like another like list of complications.
Yeah, it gets fucking wild, dude. And the reason why we're kind of like laughing amongst ourselves because like this we've already been through this, really, dude. Like we've been through this the whole shebang, like from start to end, and like we understand how freaking hard it is to do anything in the metaverse. Even though now everybody wants to do something in the metaverse because Mark Zuckerberg's out there, like, you know, dude, we're gonna
pom poms.
Huh? With the pom poms, yeah. Not like all Silicon Valley's looking.
Yeah.
Right? It's like now everyone's like, yeah, let's do something in the metaverse, but they haven't been exposed to like the actual implications of that.
Yeah, and we say implications, but what it really boils down to is it is extremely expensive to build stuff.
Oh yeah. So is that so maybe if you do just throw a ton of money at these things, like you could feasibly do it.
Yeah, because think about this. Let's take a look at, you know, probably one of the most important sectors in crypto, which is DeFi.
Mm-hmm.
DeFi will erode the entire traditional financial system by itself.
Yeah.
And we have PFP projects and NFT projects in games just obliterating those that industry.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we have the DeFi projects being, you know, one of the single most important like sectors.
Mm-hmm.
And the DeFi projects that are doing that, like it is so important to get right that I think you're right. You're going to see Silicon Valley and investors like start dumping these tokens or start dumping money into these projects to start competing with Axie.
Yeah. Or maybe not. Yeah. Just investors in general, of course. Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's already happening. It's just, now the metaverse is a new buzzword. You know, and it's not just play to earn. It's also metaverse. And there's just not too many options at the moment when it comes to metaverse. So either you learn how to play the game how it is currently, or you have to like create your own whole new game, like your own new metaverse. So
so maybe this is how it starts, dude. Maybe this is how like the whole play to earn ecosystem really kind of ramps up. That because we always say that play to earn is going to completely erode like the mentality of a gamer. Right now, gamers are just like in it for the entertainment value for the most part, like hanging out with their friends.
Yeah.
But once they start hearing and understand, it's like, well, there's games where I can earn assets. Like I feel like 100% across the board that every single gamer would prefer to play the games where they earn assets. Like completely across the board. Like every gamer will be synonymous to like, you know, what kind of assets do you have? Like what have you earned?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, and it's not just going to be gaming either. Like, there's going to be ways to earn outside of gaming, like in the metaverse. Like, there's going to be full-time like employment opportunities in the metaverse in the future and stuff like that outside of gaming.
100% right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we think about this a lot, and games is just like the easiest onboarding idea for the metaverse.
True,
but there's going to be industries that spend a lot of time in the metaverse that have nothing to do with games.
True.
And it goes back to sort of like, I mean, if you listen to our old podcast when we were like, you know, shaking our own pom-poms for Andrew Yang, he's basically identifying that automation was going to completely erode the workforce.
Yeah. And we understood that and agreed, right? We're like, he's probably right. Yeah. And this is... I think that message resonated so strongly with us because we never heard a politician even whisper something like that before. Like we've heard about it from like the big tech influencers, but never from like somebody running for president.
Yeah.
Like holy shit, this guy like as forward thinking like that it seems to be like the right kind of candidate to be, you know, making some governing decisions, right? So, but unfortunately, didn't pan out.
Yeah,
he didn't even win like the New York race, right?
No, he didn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He didn't.
Yeah, man.
I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I guess people are not voting for him. I don't get it. I think he's extremely intelligent. He's saying a lot of the things that we're feeling as far as like sort of like the younger generation with when it comes to like school and getting jobs and all that.
Yeah.
So he's saying the right things, but yeah, he's for some reason he's not getting the votes. But anyway, so if we agree, let's assume that we all agree that automation is going to erode a giant portion, a giant percentage of the workforce. Then what are people going to do then? Like, they're just gonna collect checks, UBI, and just do nothing.
We're all just gonna freaking chill.
Yeah,
and just like smoke weed.
No more war.
We're all gonna grow our own like strain of weed, and that's gonna be the new economy. It's like, bro, you want my new bud?
Yeah.
It's like, I'll also trade my bud for like some bread.
Right.
Like that's what people have in mind. Like, that is an alternative economy potentially, like a resource.
Yeah.
Maybe people can go back to growing crops or something. I don't fucking know.
A new type of creator economy.
But that's actually very true. Like, people are gonna have to figure out new ways to create value, and it's not so much necessarily like labor driven. It's gonna be more like creativity driven.
Yeah,
and
that plays a huge part in what making the metaverse is about.
Agreed.
Is the creativity.
Yeah.
And so if we have projects like making content for the metaverse, and some of that content is play to earn, that workforce that's displaced is likely to jump into the metaverse. And so you have like this reinforcing like component of society that by itself, automation is going to erode everything. And then the metaverse is like in its early beginnings, and it's going to facilitate this play to earn. So you have people losing wages, and then you have this aspect of play to earn, and so it could potentially balance out.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're already seeing it. Like, again, it's already balancing out, like from a segment of the human population that doesn't have like ample opportunity to participate in like
exactly, dude. Exactly. That's such a good example.
Yeah. So if the end game of like technology is to like unburden ourselves from like work, like physical work or whatever, I don't know, like just anything that
it's like mindless work.
Yeah,
that's what can be automated.
Yeah, so then that means, yeah, what does that mean?
Well, it means they'll have something to do.
Yeah, I guess
in the metaverse, that's what it means.
So like the metaverse is aiming to create like just so many different like incentive models, I guess, throughout it. You know, whether it's going to be gaming, maybe even like entertainment, because there's going to be people within the metaverse that are going to be spending a lot of time, you know, basically working again. Because like even though it's a video game, like you still have to work. Like, work means like time investment, right?
Yes.
You're investing your time in some kind of like task. So you can create these like virtual tasks to complete. You're being rewarded for doing such, and therefore you like it's the beginning stages of building an economy. And what comes after that is like the remaining things. Like then you could start becoming like an entertainer within the metaverse, and you could host. You could be a DJ in the nightclub and actually rack in some serious fat stacks for doing that.
Not only that, you can launch your own social token.
And
create a community around it.
Yeah, because you're literally you're hopping from metaverse to metaverse to metaverse, doing these shows every night, and by you collecting my social token, you're getting like exclusive access to the VIP rooms and all these clubs, stuff like that. There's just so many different angles you can come at it, right?
Yeah, that gets me thinking a little bit, because we another thing that we like is social tokens, right? We feel like that's going to be one of the mainstays in crypto, just like these PFP projects.
Yeah.
But a social token has, like, I don't know what the word is, expectations. And that expectation is that your social token value is based upon the activity of that influencer. And what I don't really like about these PFP projects is things like the rest, like, for example, when I'm quoting this site, it says the rest of the fate of this project will be determined by you. And so this is like a social token, right? These PFP projects, except the burden of creation is on the community. A community who largely doesn't have the skills to create anything.
Well, you don't know that.
Well, potentially, for the most part.
For the most part, but I mean, within like a community of...
But even if there are community members that can build stuff, I don't think there's the right framework for them to do anything. I just don't think so.
What frameworks are you contemplating?
Because we were just talking about making these into 3D, right?
Yeah.
And we agree that it's hard to do that.
But so
in terms of time, expense, and everything.
Yeah.
So then you're asking the community, it's like, okay, you guys do it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem right.
It doesn't seem right.
It doesn't seem like you're giving the community a chance.
You're definitely not helping.
Yeah.
Like by you stepping away so early on, it'd be like as if like I don't know, Satoshi made the Bitcoin, not even the protocol. Like he just made the Bitcoin token. And it was like, good luck, fellas. Like, you guys built the software. You guys, figure out how to get the nodes up and running and stuff like that. Like,
such a good analogy.
Good luck, mates.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm glad you guys all gave me all that money. Peace. Like, that would be rough.
Yeah.
I don't think Bitcoin would exist if
100% agree.
The founding Satoshi organization or man or whatever the fuck,
team.
entity, spiritual thing, if he didn't actually execute on at least getting the freaking engine started, right? Like whatever whatever the fuck has to at least get that engine going,
the
right?
Satoshi white paper by itself is not good enough to launch Bitcoin.
Definitely not.
Not good enough. They have to actually build the software to run to make the node. And that's what made Bitcoin, is the software. It's actually the distribution of that software is what made Bitcoin, not the white paper.
Yeah.
So these are white papers. I mean, to a certain extent, these are white papers. It's like, here's your picture. You guys figure it out. It's the white paper without the substance.
Yeah.
And then without the execution of something to do with these things.
Yeah. I agree, man. It's true. Everything you're saying is definitely true. But it's still not. You still can't discredit like the power of like the potential of a community.
Yeah.
I think maybe over time, like. Because they do have enough incentive in the sense like they're holding these things, but you're correct also in your statement, like it's super high risk. Like, is it really worth it for me as a developer to actually like put in all this freaking work and grind and like innovate and like you
gotta answer all the problems.
Yeah, and then like freaking just it turns into so much. Or should I just like instead just like ride the wave? And
I'll just do my own PFP project, and then I'll build the metaverse on my own, and then I'll take the $2 million and take that and actually make something out of it.
That's
exactly.
That potential is there for sure.
So I don't know if we're we're dropping some hints there, aren't we?
Yeah, I guess so, dude. But yeah, we don't have enough time to really go into like everything. And so in case you guys new listeners, like. There's actually 3 of us. Like whatever it is we're building, like we're building a platform that is a lot of things at this point.
You got a ghost developer.
Yeah, we've been like quietly developing these things for a while now, and there's a lot we're gonna have coming up in the next few weeks, like as far as like announcing like new features to MetaZone. Of course, a lot of you early OG guys, if you're still watching, like the Win NFT thing is like around the corner, So NFTs are on the way.
Meta NFTs specifically, and then on top of that, this MetaZone platform is to facilitate. It's to really give the tools to the developers who are motivated, just like we are.
Yeah,
the developers that see this problem and be like, I can do way better than this. I can do way better than these 10,000 like freaking images. And so that's what motivates us, is like giving the power to the developer. There was something I was going to say to that, but I'm starting to forget. But yeah, so we've quietly been building a lot of tools to facilitate this. And here's a good example of the 3D model, dude.
What is this?
This is the that's creepy looking.
The Doge Pound.
Yeah, the Doge Pound.
Yeah, I remember this project. So yeah, I mean, a lot of these projects are dropping Metaverse terminology, like all because Metaverse is a buzzword now and it's attractive, but
yeah.
So we want to help these guys. We want to help everyone who has ambitions to exist in the Metaverse. Like we're creating the tools for them to actually do that. So yeah, like I said, over the next coming weeks, we'll start demonstrating what it is exactly we're talking about, and we have our own project that this is kind of like historically how we do things here at MetaZone. It's like we have an idea, or we recognize a problem, and then we develop a solution to this problem.
Yeah.
But it takes us actually like creating like the product of it takes us creating the product in order for like other creators to identify, oh shit, like this is possible now. Like now let me join in, right? Like that's how metas began. Like
it goes back to what we were saying about Satoshi. He can't have a good idea of Bitcoin. He has to actually execute it.
That's true. Yeah.
And you know, if what we're saying makes sense, I mean, it sounds like potentially could be a good idea, but it's nothing like executing on it.
Yeah.
And so,
true that.
So yeah, that's why when we build the tools, we use our own tools. When it's like a common saying in sort of like entrepreneurship is if you're gonna make dog food, you better eat your own dog food. That's how good that your product better be.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're doing. We're eating our own dog food. We're using our own tools to build out, you know, our version of a PFP project.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a couple of other things to do to talk about, but we have about 5 minutes. There's this bill that is being voted on as we speak that forces, I guess, any crypto project that facilitates the transfer of money, forces them to disclose who is transferring what to who.
Yeah, this is a tough one, dude. This one's kind of scary.
So just to give you kind of like the summary.
Yeah, brief synopsis, please.
We have Brian Armstrong, which is the CEO of Coinbase, basically rallying the troops and saying that if this bill passes as it is, it's essentially going to make every crypto business go outside of the United States.
Yeah, because why? It's going to be, in order to remain compliant with like these new regulations,
it requires so much effort and so much work. I mean, think about it. Coinbase would have to start collecting KYC of information of the people that you are sending crypto to. These are people that have nothing to do with Coinbase. And so that is not sustainable, not even possible. It's just a regulation that just can't work.
Yeah, I guess what they've done is like they've brought in the definition of brokers.
Yes, that's
I
right.
guess like and expanded it into like the crypto realm, because there's like a lot of like tax reporting regulations that are associated with that. And I guess their definition is like anything that is like facilitating any transfer of anything, right? Like that is a broker in that sense. So they're even taking it as deep as like potentially like the smart contract layer. Like smart contracts are facilitating like transfer of like, you know, assets. Yeah. Therefore, somehow smart contracts, like I guess developers who develop these contracts, they need to also be reporting each transaction to the IRS. Yeah. Like, yeah, fucking right, dude. Yeah. Like, like, so this is really like a problem, you know, because, and I know what's happening here. It's like the IRS, they got their hands full, dude. They're already like understaffed. They already have too much to deal with. Now they're tasked with like figuring out how to actually like make sure the people who are engaged in the crypto space are like, you know, paying their dues to the big gov. Yeah. And through that process, they're like, holy shit, dude, like this is very difficult, I'm sure. Like, dude, there's like money all over this freaking blockchain. Like, where the hell is this money coming from? Like, okay, we can monitor Coinbase, but like beyond that, there's like this whole DeFi realm. And there's like now there's NFTs. There's just so much going on in the space. Like there's just no way we can get our hands on it all. So
yeah, I mean, I totally understand the implication and the problem that they're in, because eventually when merchants start accepting cryptocurrency, then you could make a bunch of money in the crypto space on Uniswap or something where it doesn't touch Coinbase, and you can spend a Bitcoin to buy a Tesla. And it's like, where'd that Bitcoin come from? It's like nobody knows. Yeah. And so I understand. It's like, dude, how do you solve this problem? I can't even answer that. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I guess in the IRS's case, it's best to like just force everyone to like spoon feed them in a sense. So like it's much easier for them to piece together these puzzles. So
I mean, yeah, it makes it easy for them, but it's actually literally impossible. Right, what they're asking for is very impossible.
Well, it's just like it's probably possible. It's just like it's definitely not desirable. And the thing is, there's locations. This is like, unfortunately for the United States, you know, government, this blockchain industry isn't like an innovation from within their grasp. You know, this is a global thing, and there are plenty of other like countries out there that are actually like further ahead as far as like
regulatory.
Well, just like innovation, like hubs of innovation for, you know, this crypto industry, right? So I mean, these locations on Earth are becoming much more attractive for people trying to actually like in the United States specifically to participate, right? So this is the case Brian Armstrong's making. Like, look, government, if you do this, you're potentially like
shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, but what's the actual saying? Like, I don't know. Yeah, you're fucking yourself. Pretty much. You're really just fucking yourself. Like, you might not know it now, but like 10, 20 years from now, when like the rest of the world is booming because it's like, you know, they actually embraced the movement and the technology, and they didn't hamper it as much as you guys did.
Yeah, and I understand the United States position. They're on top of the global financial system.
True.
And blockchain erodes their position being on top. And if they're on top, that means everybody else is below them, and so they have an incentive to adopt cryptocurrency because it brings them up,
of course,
or at least levels a playing field.
Yeah, it deleverages a little bit of like the control that the United States has on the dollar. So, yeah, I think ultimately this leads. I mean, I've already said this. I'm on record of this. I think ultimately this leads down to the path of like, you know, the United States eventually
pulling the plug.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Exactly what you just said, because there's just so much to lose.
I see. I don't know. Maybe I'm naive, but I have more. I don't know what the word is. Faith, or I don't know. Expectations that some elements of the government are intelligent enough to extrapolate the implications of pulling the plug on crypto in the United States.
Yeah.
But having said that, speaking about pulling the plug, Ethereum just made a fork on their network, EIP 1559. And so this fork burns ETH for every single transaction. And they've burnt 10,000 ETH so far over like 2 days.
I mean, it's only been a couple of days, yeah.
Yeah. So 10,000 ETH.
It's like roughly $30 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That's a lot of freaking resources just down the
30
tubes.
millions in 2 days.
Which is interesting, man, because I have conflicting thoughts. I mean, I understand. There might be like some technical reasonings behind it, but I think it's more. I feel like the Ethereum Foundation or whoever is like really like the lead developers for Ethereum, I think they have it in their minds. Like they really do want to compete with Bitcoin, so they want to create a much more favorable economic like model, I guess, for the whole ecosystem. So like, you know, global investors might think like, oh, potentially Ethereum is this like a deflationary asset, like at times. So the supply could reduce over time as opposed to Bitcoin static supply. Like, you know, so, you know, potential mass scarcity for the Ethereum asset in the future. Yeah. And considering it has like it's ubiquitous application, like if it's becoming more and more scarce and like people need it more and more to secure their transactions or whatever the hell. Like, damn, dude, I should probably be buying more Ethereum.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, Bitcoin depends on demand always going up.
Yeah.
And Ethereum, now with this update, supply is going down.
Yeah.
And so when supply goes down, demand goes up. And so now you have like a compounding force in terms of value.
Yeah.
But it's not purely deflationary because ETH is still inflating. It's just the more transactions there are, the more that is burnt. And so if there's a ton of transactions, that means you potentially, during that short period of time where you're doing a lot of transactions, it's actually deflating.
Yeah.
And so instead of the supply always going up, the supply is just oscillating. So yeah, that's the update. We wanted to talk about this a little bit more, but we got carried away with the Metaverse stuff. But
as we always do.
Yeah. You're gonna be the Metaverse boys, dude. Right? 4 years from now, they're like OG Metaverse.
I guess, dude. We'll see. To be determined.
All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube, and if you're listening, watch the YouTube channel because we're showing a bunch of stuff on our computers here. Follow us on Twitter, and all the links will be in the description below, and we will catch you in the next video.
Peace out.